don't be offended by the truth. They be offended because you called out the truth. Simple as that. They don't want to hear any other narrative that makes them look bad. One thing I can't stand at this big grown age is somebody who acts like cause and effect does not exist. Like, yes, your actions caused this outcome. Yes, what you did lit the match. Like, why are you surprised and playing victim?
Guys, Chico, they never lie. That's how you know somebody doesn't respect you. They listen to reply, not to be understood. They cut you off. They minimize what actually matters to you. They laugh at your boundaries, and then they call you sensitive when you try to hold the line. They show up late, they cancel last minute, forget the things you've told them, because in their world, your time, your energy, even your voice aren't a priority. They're just an option. You see, there are two kinds of people. Those who adjust when they realize they've actually hurt you, and those who expect you to adjust so they don't have to change. You don't need to be disrespected loudly to be disrespected deeply. Sometimes you'll see it. It's just in their tone, in their patterns, in the silence after you're known. Respect isn't what they say when they're watching. It's how they act when they think you'll.
Good evening, peace and blessings, glory, praise, and honor to the Most High. Happy Tuesday. I hope all is well with each and every single one of you. Thank you for being here this evening with us on Assembly of Excellence. How's the weather where you are? I hope your week is going good. You stand safe on these roads. Shout outs to my poets, my writers, my content creators. You know the list. Quick announcement before I bring Coach up. This Friday, the open mic returns. So, any poets out there, you want to tap in, hit me up. Let's work. This is one of my favorite segments of the entire week. I love kicking it with y'all, and I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it. So, Friday, 8 o'clock Eastern, tap in. Coach, what up? What up? What up? What up?
Yo, what up, man? What's good? What's going on?
Blessed, man. Blessed, highly favored. What's the word?
Chilling, man. Trying to figure it out.
Right on, right on. You see the title, people. Just another one of those conversations I think doesn't get brought up enough. And I feel like we need to address it. This woman crashes out. Could have got extremely messy. People could have got hurt. Fortunately, we had a happy ending, so to speak. Kind of bittersweet, but I'm going to bring it up on the big screen. I'm going to let the clip speak for itself. We're going to chop it up.
Columbus Police, you got a warrant. Keep your hands where we can see them. You're under arrest. Are you going to get sick? You're sick on the ground before you don't get on the cruiser, okay?
Hello? Hey, can we talk? Yeah, we can talk. Okay. I'm really sorry that, I was like the center of all that.
I don't know how, I don't even know what to say. I know we're not supposed to be talking to each other. I really don't even know what to say.
I really don't know what to say either. I never expected like any of this to like happen. I don't know like what he's told you, but
he told me everything. He told me that he has video of you guys have. He told me that the day that I was flipping out about the party that you guys had at the mall, and he told me the day that you picked him up, you guys had too.
I didn't know that he had videos. I didn't know that he recorded me until his friends called me.
Hey, put your hands up. We're all here. What do you have? Do you have a gun? What do you have? Don't! Gun! Hey, radio, she's got a 33 in her hand.
Talk about it. Put the gun down. Put the gun down.
Yeah. Peyton, what?
Why don't you come talk to me about this? I'm not going to take you away. No, come on. Do you have any family?
I don't care about what happens to me tomorrow. Except I'm not going home. I don't have a home anymore. I'm just couch surfing because everyone wants to act like I'm a fucking pedophile. This is my memories. This is the shit I have to sleep with at night. If I was able to just bottle up inside, pretend it didn't happen, which is what I was trying to do. I was trying to pretend they cared about me, and that's why he said to me, I was trying to just pretend. Yeah. That he just really needed me. That's why he did that. I made every excuse for him. And you guys are all lying to me. Telling me that you wanted me to get out. You don't want me to get out. You just want to lock me in a cage. And you make me want to kill myself more.
Man. I'm glad nobody was hurt. Like I said at the beginning of this shit, that could have been ugly. Somebody could have lost their life. Because the position and the mindset that she seemed like she was in, she was ready to risk it all. She ain't had nothing else to lose. She was already being mocked by her peers, whoever found out about what she was doing. And it looked like she just was done at that point. Your initial thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, the video was kind of crazy. Yeah, I didn't know what was going on half of the time. I just heard her talking, calling people pedophiles and all type of other things. So yeah, just interested to see where this is headed. What made you find interest in this video?
She's a counselor at a school that was having inappropriate interactions sexually with a student. And the mother found out through text messages and other conversations. She was being exposed for them. And in a last-ditch effort to avoid accountability for her actions and her decisions, she thought that she could take out the mother and possibly herself in the process to avoid going to jail. The reason why I wanted to speak on it is because it's one of those things where it just doesn't get brought up enough. You're letting your children go into these buildings with these adults, and you don't know anything about them. And this is not the first time that I've brought this up. This isn't the second time that I brought this up. This isn't the third. I've had this conversation on this channel at least 15 times in different areas, men and women alike, because I don't like pedophiles. I don't like adults who prey on kids. I can't stand it. I hate it with a passion. And it bothers me because people don't seem to emphasize this enough, that it's wrong. People don't seem to have enough urgency for it. And so I'm like, let me just remind you again, it's not just men who do this, it's women who do this too. Also, these are things that irreparably mess with these kids' development as they get older. So that's the main overall reason why I brought this up. But that's the background. She was sleeping with a student. Mom found out. It was time for her to face the curtain call. She wasn't trying to, and she still ends up in jail.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, she got what she had coming to her. She didn't have good intentions, so she got a quick reaction to what that karma was like.
I want to know why we continue to have these stories. It's like every year, and it's been increasing since the last 4 or 5 years. I've just been seeing more and more of these cases coming up. Student teacher. What is going on? What's in the water? What am I missing here?
Well, what have you looked into? What's the common trend or pattern that you've seen since you've been looking into it?
It's just perversion. It's for one, the teachers are younger. The younger the teachers, the more that they relate to the students. I'm not going off of numbers. I'm just going off of looking at the carnal part of it. You're 23, 24, 26 years old, getting into these fields of work. You're not getting the proper training. You're not mentally available to be around kids. Hell, you just got out of school yourself, and you're going into these high schools and into these elementary schools. Nobody's looking at you overall to see if you're really qualified for this. They're kind of just handing out positions to people. And I think, honestly, it's just that a lot of adults are just perverts.
I don't know about that, man. You kind of generalize and say a lot of people. I mean, to looking at the qualifications in order to be a teacher, I mean, I wouldn't say that they overall just perverts, but I mean, you have to have something based to quantify what you're talking about. As far as for over sexualization and stuff, yeah, we talk about that all the time, but that only goes so far. So you got to bring up something more valid. They're saying 1 out of every 1,000 teachers are sleeping with these kids, especially in the type of areas that they're in. So just need a little bit more information based. It depends on also too what's getting publicized and what ain't getting publicized. Are they younger? Absolutely, they're younger because everybody's younger in the jobs. You can say teachers, news reporters, car salesmen. Everybody's younger, and that's the biggest issue is people getting phased out by ages as far as with jobs. So it definitely provides a discrepancy as far as for the potential for maturity, but I don't know necessarily if that's what's causing these people to engage into the activities that they're engaging in.
So I pulled up something I'm gonna read real quick. So this is just off of Google so far. It says Higher education professors, faculty, a survey of psychology educators found that 13% reported entering sexual relationships with their students, while 10% of psychology students reported having sexual contact with their educators. Graduate versus undergraduate. Such relationships are reported as being uncommon at the undergraduate level, but slightly more common at the graduate level. Uh, Gender differences. In surveys of psychology training programs, 16.5% of women reported sexual contact as students compared to 3% of men. Conversely, 19% of male educators reported such contact compared to 8% of female educators. So just off of just some numbers. I'm not saying that every single authority figure in an office is preying on kids. What I'm saying is there are way too many stories, way too many cases where there are adults, gym teachers, math teachers, history teachers, counselors going to jail for having interactions with kids. And I just want to know why it's just happening so frequently to the point to where nobody is looking at this like maybe we need to do something different here. Like our approach to vetting these adults or these figures need to switch up some because this ain't working.
What would you suggest to be a better approach?
Background checks need to improve.
Improve from what? I mean, because they do. I don't know what type of background checks. I know they got fingerprints. I don't know what type of background checks they have for.
More or less like more psychological evaluations.
Yeah, but you got to pay somebody to do that.
Is your child's safety worth the extra $2, $4?
I don't know what you mean by $2 or $4, but
I'm just not a real. I'm just making up a number. I'm just saying.
Well, yeah. Well, let's be feasible because it don't take that. It take more than that to run a background check on somebody, especially to run a security clearance check on somebody. And those are the type of things they do in government jobs, Department of Defense, the Department of Homeland Security, all those type of things. So that's all federal. So they're doing those in federal, and they're not thinking about doing those in state jobs. So then they're not paying those type of things either for the type of credentials you need for somebody to be that clean to work those type of jobs. They're not paying for that. So again, it goes back down to the system and everything else. So, you got to talk about all of it. You can't just talk about a piece of it. It ain't free to do a background check. You got to pay people. You got to pay people to go back in different areas. You got to pay people to go, private detectives, PIs, all that type of stuff. So it ain't that easy. So that's why some of the things that you're coming up with might be a little bit too far fetched. It might make perfect sense in the perfect world, but again, they ain't paying teachers to begin with. So you talking about somebody to be as straight and narrow, as clean as they got to be to be a teacher, to pass a background check, a top secret clearance or a security clearance, to teach somebody for $35,000, $45,000, $50,000 a year. Shit, it costs $75,000 just to do the damn background check. So yeah, that type of stuff ain't gonna happen, man. That's why you got a lot of people homeschooling right now. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would prefer you homeschool, but I think it's definitely a problem if you're telling me that your kids' education and their safety is not worth that extra $75,000. And when you sending millions and billions to countries that, quite frankly, have nothing to do with what we have going on over here, why are you taking all of your source of income to another location when you could be focusing it where it matters? You said,
again, what happens is you start talking about state, federal, and all other different things, and all those things are different. And then you start talking about how people are voting, how people are talking about how the government and cities are allocating resources, and all that stuff's different. And people just aren't participating or care enough about that kind of stuff. So it's not just as simple as $1,000 or $2,000. I mean, it's a little bit more to it. But again, it just goes back to what people are willing to invest. If people aren't voting, people aren't going out there and talking about what's going on in their economy and in their cities, and you can't complain about the schools. And I ain't talking about you personally. I'm just saying, just like now with the active shooters, and then they're talking about people should be there arming the schools. People should be protecting the schools. Well, that stuff takes planning. It takes money. It takes resources. You just can't say because I had a good idea that you can go out there and do those type of things. All that stuff is coming in the 5-year, 10-year plans, budgets and stuff. So it's just not that simple. Just because we think it's a great idea.
I get that. That doesn't mean it shouldn't be a conversation. I mean,
nothing wrong with the conversation, but the conversation ain't gonna get you nowhere, man. We talking about execution. You can have a conversation and table that shit to next year, and it'll just sit there in the notes till next year. We talking about executing and implementing plans, not just having a conversation. So we at the point, and I think that's what Jay-Z was with Kaepernick, talking about, all right, we're done with conversations. What are we doing now? You talking about kneeling, we talking about doing this stuff. Let's move on. Let's advance it. Not saying that it's the same thing, but I'm just saying at some point, conversation is just not going to get you anywhere. In 2026, conversation ain't going to get you nowhere.
And Jay-Z is the last person to give any information out or try to give any wisdom out, and he's in the Epstein files, so I ain't really trying to hear nothing.
You can say what you want, man, but that dude, he's on bill for being successful and doing everything else. The Epstein files, you're talking about something that's been redacted, unredacted, and that's manufactured by some other people out there. But the fact is he's got proven business companies, he's got proven ventures, he's got proven and successful things that are out there, and you're talking about things being successful, or just hypothetically talking about something. So fact is he's been successful in what he's been doing. So, I mean, that's the bottom line. You can talk about hypothetical shit all day long, but he's actually went out there and executed and implemented businesses, generating up to billions of dollars for other companies. So, again, you can talk about hypothetical shit all day. You can talk about shit that people are actually out there doing. I mean, there's a difference.
Okay, so what would be the next step? What would be the protocol to actually make some stuff happen? Then that's actually for what? I mean, that's actually of value, other than just talking about it. I want to see a system where these adults are being evaluated more concise, so that when my 13-year-old or my 11-year-old goes into this building, I know that there's no hidden cameras in here, that they're not trying to keep them after school for some weird Freaky Friday activities and all that.
And that's something you and whoever your constituents is, that's something y'all should come up with. That's why they got PTA meetings and board programs and all that other shit that people don't go to. So actually support the stuff that the schools have in place and put your opinion to where it matters versus just making up some bullshit, and go out there and support the programs that's at the schools. They have those programs. Again, we're talking about hypotheticals when they actually got programs and stuff in place. Go be a part of your kids' future. Go be a part of the system. Go contribute. Go be out there and be a part of those PTA meetings and all those type of things and get involved. And then you can make change from being a part of the system and within, versus sitting around talking about, hypotheticals and making up some stuff. So, again, everybody has a board, everybody has a system, houses and subdivisions. They got HOAs. People don't like it, they join the HOA. Go out there and be a part of the program. That's what you want to see change. You want to make change. Go out there and join a board, join an institution. Other than sitting around and talking about hypotheticals, that's what I would suggest.
So, what's a hypothetical to you?
whatever's not written down on a piece of paper that says this is the rules and regulations of how we're operating.
Okay. All right, let's say you find out that someone that you mentor has a situation with someone at one of these establishments and they're underage. And they come to you about it. And you have to navigate them through this. What do you say to them? They don't go to their parents first. They come to you first.
Well, they didn't do that because if I mentor them, then that means they went to their parents first. And if they didn't do that, then we don't have a conversation. Because if I'm mentoring you, you have an established safety protocol already established between whomever it is, and that's going to be your first line of defense. Contacting me will be your last line of defense. So you would have people around you that you would feel comfortable with, or you shouldn't be around. Point blank, period. Again, you can't. There's no perfect scenario. Excuse me, but you can't make up some shit either. If you're around some people and you don't feel comfortable, then that's when you should say something. Why are you hiding that you don't feel comfortable when you're around these people? So now you're complicit already to some shit that you shouldn't be complicit to. So we got issues. Integrity, doing the right thing when nobody's around. If you're not doing the right thing when nobody's around to hold you accountable, that means you're complicit to it. So that means you're a part of the problem. So again, it starts with you. If you're not willing to hold yourself accountable, there's nothing I can do for you, man. You got to be coachable. If you're not coachable, you're not holding yourself accountable, why would I be engaging with you? I'm not here to fight you. I'm not here to go back and forth with you. You have to be willing to seek and want change, man, in order to have change. And if you don't, then you won't. And I wouldn't be working with you. It's as simple as that. I'm not here for validation and trying to win like notable awards and all that type of shit. You got to be wanting to change and want to put in the work because it's too much effort. I'm just a guide. That's all I'm doing. I'm just helping you out. It's got to be within you. As within, so without.
It's sad, man. I type it in and I see this long list of adults. Most of them are white. There's a few Black and Hispanics in there. You scroll down, matter of fact, you scroll down, you see just so many different faces, all of these people, man. And it's like, how is this just so frequent that nobody seems to notice anything at all? Even the peers. And you work alongside these adults for years. You telling me you've never noticed that Mr. Jameson was a little extra with them kids in the gym? You never noticed that Nancy was doing a little more for little Jimmy here, and like how does that just go unnoticed?
Yeah, man. I think I think it's an easy answer, man. Is a lot of people mind their own business, man. A lot of people look out for themselves because they got their own families to take care of, and a lot of people just might not be armed and tooled with the resources on how to handle those situations. You know, everybody don't have natural abilities to problem solve because most of the people that's out there are just trying to figure out how to survive. And if you stick your nose into somebody else's business, you might be interfering with your survival or your family's survival. Especially if you got a spouse and you go home and now you got to answer to your spouse on why you stuck your nose in somebody else's business. Now you got problems on top of problems. So again, it's just we're not equipped with problem solving skills, man. So we're taught how to survive, not how to solve problems. And that's where the issue comes into play. Because if we're taught how to solve problems, then what you're saying will be easy, second nature. You walk in here, all right, man, how we figure this out? 1 + 1 = 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But instead, it's more or less along the lines of coming here, how do we not make as much noise so that way we fuck it up for everybody else? You know what I mean? So it's just a mindset thing. At the end of the day, I don't think it's the other aspect of what you were trying to make it as far as for identifying the problem, the issue. It's just the mindset of just survival. And then you don't know who, especially nowadays. Back in the days, you had gangs, territories, whatever people had, sororities to involve themselves in the cliques. But now everybody's just in a culture where it's just everybody for themselves. That's what the 90s and 2000s was about. Everybody's representing and hanging on to something, establishing themselves to some type of brand, whether it was, Bloods, Crips, Vice Lords, GDs, gangbanging, AKAs, you had your athletes, you had your rappers. Everywhere you went, 90s and 2000s, it was somebody was attached to something. And you had a brand. Now it's just everybody's just out there just representing their own shit and just figuring it out, especially if you're blowing up on social media. And then that's why it's all this competition versus people coming together and just trying to complete each other. Everybody's competing against each other. And then that's why you can't find a common ground either. It's how you gonna find a common ground when we don't know if we're in combat or not. Because we're in survival mode. So we don't know if we're in combat. We don't know if we're trying to share resources. We don't know what we're doing. We know we should share resources, but we don't even know how to communicate with each other enough to get to that point. And that's the issues that we have.
That's some cold shit. Some cold shit. I can't say he's lying though.
Real shit.
I've seen it firsthand. There is no real code of ethic anymore. Not for some people. I'm not saying everybody, but there's a few out there that still they on that neighborhood watch type time. But you telling me that in the school system they don't understand? You ain't read the rule book, the handbook. You didn't get the emails.
Man, let me tell you some of the shit that happens in the school systems, right? So you got what we just talked about. We got teachers that are in their, let's say, early 20s. And then you got a subset of teachers in their late 40s. So they're old enough to be their parents. So they in there fighting to figure out who the hell has the most accurate information and who's more in control of what. Ain't no unity in there. So you got the old fighting the new and the new fighting the old, and it's a changing of the guard. And then you got the principals and the superintendents trying to figure out how to get this shit under control. That's what the school system are like. You know what that sound like? Fucking prison guards.
Bang, bang, bang.
So they behind some walls trying to figure out how to raise 15 to 20 something to 30 individuals in one classroom in 45-minute increments for 8 hours out of the day. Ain't enough time, man. And that's why these kids say they ain't getting paid enough. And like you said, they're going through CEUs and they're getting certifications and they're getting thrown into these courses to teach, but they're not being prepared for what they're walking into. So they're the wrong person for the right job. They're young, unprepared, uneducated, unexperienced for the right price to get thrown in there to go what? Handle somebody's kids. Yeah, man. So then you put somebody in that position of authority, depending on what age they are. They're 23, 24, 25, work with 15, 16, 17-year-olds, and everybody's smelling themselves. What's happening? Okay, I got 15, 20 young boys staring at me looking like a fresh piece of meat. They listen to everything I say. They move. When I say move, you move. So now you're talking about abuse of power, of position. And then you can get a little something. So then you have inappropriate relationships. So I mean, yeah, man, it's happening, man. They're not educating these kids, man. So that's the type of shit you got going on.
I don't know if it's my generation or what. The conversation piece seems to be completely absent. Like I would definitely at this point I would tell anybody, especially if you are going into school, leaving elementary, but at this point, you gotta even have that conversation then too. These are things that you gotta look out for. If you see something, say something. There is no keeping things to yourself. There is no being bribed. There is no they're going to have leverage over you because they have this power or position over you. You see something, you say something. That way, the right person who is in authority can handle this, evaluate what's going on, and make the proper calls. All the secrecy and all of this tipping the scale in my favor for my age and my tenure here versus this. Nah, that stuff got to stop. And I remember just a few months ago doing a story where the teachers absolutely did exactly what you said. Survival. They knew who he was. They knew what he was about, and they defended him on multiple cases. It wasn't one, it was 3. He was known for it in that school, and they didn't say nothing. They pretty much turned their eye to it. He's in jail now because they had cameras in there that caught him. But it's like, all right, so what do y'all want? I want to be comfortable knowing that my kids are safe in this building. I want you as an adult that's working here to take your job serious and to put some respect on these parents on the oath that you took to take care and educate these kids and to hold your comrades accountable. This shouldn't be a conversation. It shouldn't be happening at all. But you 24, 25 years old, you're looking at these 16, 17-year-olds as if, well, we're not that far off in age. I was just there. I just got out of high school not too long ago. And hell, shit, some of these adults are 50 years old, 40 years old, 30 years old doing this shit. So what's psychologically going on with you? What's in your head? I concede to the fact that no one really cares. They're not enough to put the funding into it. They should, but they don't.
Yeah, it's definitely an issue out there, man. Man, people just conceding to play dumb, man. Nobody wants to better themselves anymore. You know what I mean? And that's the situation you're in. And then these young folks, man, they so high. I don't know what they high on, but they be so high. They don't even be on this planet no more. They don't even care about what's going on this planet. And they want to be high all day and all night. Not like work an hour or work a shift, 8-hour shift, smoke, have a drink or something like that. They just want to be high all day. And how can you focus if you high all day? You know what I mean? A sober mind, you get better results, but it's just a different time frame. It's almost like they're just trying to numb themselves to a pain, but what pain? We're trying to figure out what pain, because you can't speak to what people are going through, but it's just you're at a disadvantage with the lack of communication of not knowing what they're going through. So you would think that they would try to find a way to voice and speak what the issues are, so that way you can kind of fix those things. But again, the lack of communication, man, and that's what's missing out there.
You're not cognizant. You can't tell when you're being groomed. We did a show on that before. Adults that are grooming kids, what it looks like, how to recognize it, and what to do in case you are faced with it. That's another thing that needs to be implemented in some of these conversations between parent, child. I don't know if there's ever going to be a curriculum for it. I think if you're going to have sex education, there should be some type of way to add that in there, because you high, you drunk, you popping pills, and even if you're not even at that age yet, there are some of these adults, they play into your likes, your PS5, your favorite clothes, your phone, your bills. If you have any type of responsibilities, they will use that to get you comfortable. And I'm just over it. I'm over it all. I don't like seeing it. Going back to this woman, she was really about to end everything. You really about to kill this kid's mother because she found out what she was doing, and she said, "I didn't know he was recording me. I didn't know he had videos of me." And you said it like it was his fault, or if it wasn't for the videos or any of that shit, you wouldn't have said nothing. It wouldn't have even been that right there. What are you talking about? So the videos, if he would have just kept quiet, what, you would have kept doing what you was doing? Would you have been sitting on the phone with her? Would you have gone to her house and tried to have a standoff with the police because you know you was in the wrong? But then she tried to blame him for how she feel and all of these other things. No, you're a grown ass woman. What are you doing having those type of emotional attachments and feelings towards a child in the first place? What makes you not have that with an adult? Why do you feel more relatable to a child? I don't know. I hope she doesn't get out. I hope they give her a sufficient amount of time. Matter of fact, let me ask this question. What's a reasonable sentencing for pedophiles? Should they get the same treatment as murderers and serial killers? Do they get charged like folks who get caught with paraphernalia? Like, what do you think they should get as far as sentencing? 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, life?
Man, I don't know, man. That's too broad of a question. Depends on the situation. Depends on everybody's roles involved in it. Depends on parents' roles involved in it. You know, because You could be talking about like the R. Kelly situation, and the parents didn't get any recourse when that should have been factored into it. So I think there's everything kind of plays a factor into it, but it definitely should be looked at lightly. But I just want to make sure everybody gets punished equally and not just one person. So just got to be careful.
My final thoughts on this: whether or not people want to believe it or not, this is happening every day. I don't know how often, but it's happening right underneath our nose. I don't understand the psychosis behind it. I couldn't tell you why adults think like that or why they feel so moved to be that intimate with a student that will forever baffle me. But like Coach said earlier, there are things that you can look into that you can actually utilize that might be a benefit to you and everybody else involved if you care enough. My thoughts and prayers go out to any kids who have been traumatized or have interacted and been scarred by this type of a lifestyle, because there's little boys 14 13 years old out here that got kids with grown ass women, and that shit ain't cool at all. So yeah, man, this won't be the last time you see me bring this up. But if there's anything you want to say to the parents or to the kids, man, you got the floor.
Nah, man. I mean, we already said everything, man. Like I said, just and all that stuff. Just want to make sure you giving everybody the opportunity to have a fair and equal, conversation, not judging anybody, and just being open minded.
Salutes to everybody who pulled up. Appreciate y'all for being here. If y'all have any tips, any ideas that we could bring forward, that would be dope. Let's have an open dialogue about this stuff, man. It's important. But y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. We out of here. Drive safe. Have a blessed Wednesday. Peace.